All the speculation about the Dallas Cowboys is they could possibly sign Odell Beckham Jr. And since you're a former agent and you're a hell of a writer and got a great podcast as well, I'm like, Kevin said, we got to get a hold of Joel Corry. We gotta ask him, how would he negotiate this deal to make it happen where everybody wins?
Well, first thing is Odell's expectations. From my understanding is he wants a long-term deal, doesn't want just to sign for the rest of the year. My first question is, why are you even trying to play football this year, given you're coming back on what will be a faster timetable for your second ACL than your first ACL? We've seen some guys like Tre'Davious White, it took a year for him to finally come back on Thanksgiving Day. Chase Young is not quite back yet. That's about a year. My question is, I think that Dallas fans or whomever signs them, Giants, Bills, they're going to have outsized expectations for Odell coming off the second ACL, and he may not be able to live up to them this year. So for him being at 30, a multi-year deal makes sense. That'd be the first part of the equation. I'm not just signing for this season, but it has to be a long-term commitment.
It's interesting that you brought up the question of whether or not, why is he wanting to play football this year? Because I feel like that's kind of been, the whole idea is that he kind of gets to pick where he wants to go and he can be kind of that hired mercenary, if you will, wherever he decides to go. Why would that be the question that you would start off with respect to him, knowing kind of the effect that he had on the Rams last year when he came in as a, late addition signing?
Yeah, but he didn't have that effect with the Rams until late in the year. He was basically a midseason addition. It took him a while to get acclimated to the offense before he looked like he was going to win Super Bowl MVP the way that game started out until he tore his ACL. Plus, there are cap constraints this year, which won't be the same if you wait until next year, 2023 league year. You could have a bigger universe of teams. Also, it's going to be a weak free agent receiver market because every receiver that teams would have wanted re-signed with their own team with an extension. Top of the best guy looks like it's going to be Juju Smith-Schuster. So that, to me, that's why you might want to wait.
Okay, so if you were Stephen Jones, he's supposed to come in, by the way, a week from today on December the 5th up here to Frisco at the Star, and I'm sure they're going to do all the physicals and do everything you can do. Again, I'm with you. I'm thinking, okay, what can he do for this team unless he does something in the playoffs? But yet, I know defensive coordinators have to account for him just in case. With that in mind, if you're Stephen Jones, because I want you to wear a couple of caps. If you're Stephen Jones, what do you think is a reasonable deal for him? Now, I'm not talking about hardball Stephen, because he's been hardball lately. But if you wanted him on this roster, what would you think that you could offer that they might think is fair?
Well, I've seen reports that he wants $20 million per year, which to me, good luck. If you can get that, somebody else can pay that. A healthy Odell, I don't think would have gotten $20 million per year. What I think he would have gotten was the deal Allen Robinson got. I think Allen Robinson took his money in L.A., which averages $15.5 million per year. Now with Dallas, there's probably some sensitivity to the guy coming off an ACL that's playing for you guys, Michael Gallup.
Yep.
That you won't go above Michael Gallup on the base value of a contract. So to me, in Dallas, that's probably his ceiling for the base value, $11.5 million per year. Also, from an Odell standpoint, why am I signing beyond this year unless I have at least 2023 fully guaranteed? So you're going to have to make a commitment that 2023 is fully guaranteed. I expect any deal is going to have huge per-game roster bonuses in it, which basically means every game you're not on the 53-man roster, that you don't earn that amount per game. Michael Gallup has pretty big per-game rosters in his contract. He's got $1 million of them per year, and he didn't earn like $170,000 for the first 3 weeks he didn't play. So that's going to be a necessity wherever he goes, given he's coming off of 2 ACL tears, the per-game roster bonuses.
Joel Corry joining us right here of CBS Sports, salary cap and NFL contracts expert right here on your home of the Cowboys 105 through the Fan. So with that being said then, what should be the expectation for Odell Beckham Jr.? Yes, he wants a multi-year deal, but if you're representing him, what's kind of the mindset you're taking with him into these negotiations about what he should expect and how teams will go about talking to him about his next deal?
Yeah, as an agent, you got to diminish expectations. So the $20 million per year mark, if he came to me with that, I would explain to him why that wouldn't work. Now the question is, how much are you going to pay him for the rest of this year? That $20 million kind of came into play through Adam Schefter in terms of a prorated amount for this year. That's still high to play basically 4 weeks. That'd be like $1 million, 1.1 a week if you prorate the average. If you're working off the 11.5 and prorated that for the rest of the season, then you're talking, depending upon which week he signed, like 2.5 to 3 for the rest of the year. I would want, the lower I go, the more upside I'm going to want in a contract based on what I do, based on receptions and receiving yards and stuff like that, to get my value as close to the Allen Robinson deal I would have gotten had I been healthy, because I think that's really the max he could look to get. And he won't get that in base value, but if you get to Allen Robinson, if you perform, to me, that's something that he should be striving to get. Whether he can get that from a team is a different story.
What do you think his negotiated contract would do to impact CeeDee Lamb's contract when he's up for a contract about a year from now?
Well, Dallas kicks the can down the road in terms of restructuring with the best of them. So
that is very true.
I don't think that's something you got to worry about today, because today's contracts will be restructured tomorrow, and tomorrow's contracts are restructured for another day. So you could have two receivers making $11.5 million per year. If you structured it like Amari Cooper's contract, you could get out of it after 2 years anyway. And I really think that if I'm Odell, I want guarantees in 2024. But if I'm a team, I'm not guaranteeing you at signing anything for 2024. Maybe the guarantees for 2024 are contingent upon how much he plays in 2023 or what he does on the field in 2023. So there could be a mechanism for 2024, all or part, to be guaranteed depending upon playtime and performance. But you're really talking a commitment where you could get out of it, worst case, after 2024.
Joel, a lot of people are thinking the Cowboys are the favorites to land his services. Is that your prediction, or do you think there's another team that's going to wind up signing Odell Beckham in the next couple of weeks here?
I'd be afraid of the Giants from this standpoint. He played there. It's a bigger media market, and they desperately need a receiver. Not only this year, but next year. Kenny Golladay is getting released. That's been a terrible signing for them. They signed him for $72 million over 4 years in 2021 free agency, and he's done next to nothing there. He won't be there next year. My concern of New York, which from Odell's standpoint would be the quarterback instability. I've got Daniel Jones. He's played better than he has any other point in his career, but if you look at the teams he's supposedly seriously considering, that's the worst quarterback. I'd much rather play with Dak or Josh Allen than Daniel Jones. And then is Saquon going to be there? He's on an expiring contract. I know that they have had negotiations. You can franchise them, but there are more question marks with New York from a personnel standpoint, although Brian Daboll's done a hell of a job this year, and it looks like he's going to be coach of the year because nobody thought they'd have 7 wins. But Dallas, if you're trying to win, or Buffalo, more complete rosters.
Is San Francisco a dark horse at all, or do you think they're not even interested?
I have a hard time with that one from the standpoint that they don't need him. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle,
Christian
McCaffrey, they don't need him.
That'd be interesting.
If they could get him, then that's shame on everybody else. But he's really more of a luxury there than anyplace else.
Before we let you go, I wanted to kind of get what your thought on what this contract will ultimately be. Like, when it's all said and done in your mind, obviously you work for the player, you want to get the best deal for the player, but for the team and for the player, what do you think is the ideal contract number based on what Odell's wanting, what teams may be wanting? What would that be for you if once this is all said and done for Odell?
Well, first thing I'd say is that the money ain't right. I'm not playing this year, and I'll just revisit it next year. That'd be part of my leverage. Like, I don't have to play this year. But I think you're going to have a contract which may be backloaded. This is what I honestly think it'll be, where cosmetically the average is inflated, but realistically it won't be money he earns. But 2023 is going to be fully guaranteed, and the average is going to be in the double digits.
And it's going to be like a bonus money, right, where he's kind of satisfied?
Yeah, it's going to be stretched out over multiple years, so you can have this year's cap number be low, given that most teams will have a ton of cap room to fit him in anyway. But I think you may have an inflated average where that's not what the deal actually is.
Let me ask you the hologram elephant in the room, the question for all the people who follow social media. Does his falling asleep on an airplane impact any of the team's interest in him, do you think? Because I don't think it does.
No, John's already said it hasn't. He's supposed to visit there Thursday, Friday. I don't think it's going to make a bit of a difference.